is the start of the Supersprint Motorsport New Zealand Championship, and part of that is the very popular Toyota 86 series in its 10th season, right? Strong, tough little tin tops that are as strong as an ox. You can throw them around. And it's really close racing. And we've got the pit boys in. The pit boys, hey, remember we said that joke, gets into the pits. Well, Dion Pitt's driving, and his brother Michael here is telling him what to do. Because that's what big bro, Michael? Big bro. Yep. And Dion, so you're 25 and he's what, 55?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I reckon he looks older than me, eh?
Nah. Welcome to the studio. Thanks for having us, mate. You raced last year to 86, is
That's
that?
correct, yep.
So how did you go?
Not bad. Had a pretty good first season in it. Got a podium in the first race on debut and stuff. Got 7th overall and third in the rookie championship. So pretty happy with how the season went and pretty solid. Really want to build on it for this season coming now.
Are you a born racer, or is it something that just tickled your fancy at some stage?
I believe born racer, really. I've dreamed about it since 3 years old. I remember watching Murph. That's my first memories in the Kmart car on TV, and just dreamt of it my whole life, and yeah.
But so the Toyota 86 is a progression. Have you gone through the traditional route of karting and then done other classes?
Yeah, so I started karting at the age of 10 at Mount Wellington kart track. Did it at national level for about 4 years.
Isn't that such a shame? It looks like it's gone now. Isn't that one of the tragedies?
Massively.
It's more like a dump. It's more like a storage unit now, right?
I went by there actually not too long ago, and I just saw it, and I was like,
yeah, but at least you have the memories, right?
Yeah, the memories. Many laps I turned there. So,
but a lot of people don't understand. Learning to drive a go-kart properly teaches you so much, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It teaches you so much racecraft, just how to brake and accelerate, obviously, and your lines and learning race lines and stuff like that. Oh, it's literally.
It's the best
perfect.
form.
Yeah, it's the best form to learn, especially from a young age, at the age of 10 or 9. Like, there's kids in there that are 5 years old that you can start karting.
Yeah, and Michael, you'd see your brother out there, and what karting does teach a lot of people is elbows out, right? It almost teaches a fearless attitude, doesn't it?
No, absolutely. And you find the way you race a kart compared to a car is very, very different as well. And like you said in the karts, your elbows are out. You can sort of pop your nose in a bit more physical. But then when you come to the car racing, you've got to sort of, calm down a little bit with
it becomes more expensive because there's things called panels that are going to be damaged.
Yeah, a bit more respectful, 100%.
So when you had to step up, I see you drove the old BMW's competition for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, 3 seasons I did the E30s. Yep.
So how hard was the transition? Everybody transitions in a different way.
It wasn't too hard because they're very similar in low horsepower racing, momentum. You've got to keep the momentum up. They're very similar in a way. There's small sports compact coupe, so yeah, it wasn't too hard. A little bit more power in the 86, but overall it's just more modern equipment in the 86 and a bit more grip.
The 86 is great. I can tell you a bad story about my experience in the 86. So I've driven the test car, which is pretty much on not slicks, it's on a medium tyre, right?
Semi-slick, yep.
Easy.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, be very careful, Stephen, here. What I discovered very quickly, you can brake like crazy. You can jump on the brakes, can't you?
Very hard. You can use a lot of pressure.
But it's also they don't wear out quickly, which makes it a more economical class of racing to do,
100%,
right?
100%. You're not changing brakes every meeting. They'll last a good couple meets,
So it's a six-round competition, right?
Yep.
6-round competition. How many brake pads would you go through? How many tyres would you go through?
So we run a new set of tyres every qualifying. We put on a new set for every round, and then you race on that same set from qualifying, and it's marked so you can't change the tyre.
Yeah.
So you get basically 6 sets for each round, it's 1 each round, and then pads, brakes and stuff. It's normally like maybe 3 sets or so throughout the season for pads. Rotors, maybe 1 if you're lucky, if it's just depending on where they were when you started the season and how warm they were.
Can you tell me how to warm up tyres in 86? Because I tried that at Hampton Downs, and I think I spent most of my time going in circles, coming into corners, and if they're not warm, chopping down, not a great manual guy. Can drive manual, but not that flash. And as soon as I came clunked, you go 1, 2 and up and over, and then 3 the hard right-handed before the dip. That one there, chopped it from third to second and spun it.
Wow.
You probably got a
Don't
compression
go
lock
wow,
up.
Michael, as if I'm a numpty.
Well, that's right. I haven't driven yet, so
Yeah, so you just
I can't say a thing.
You just park it there. You just stay in pit lane for a moment.
You probably compression locked when you went to second.
Compression locked.
They're diff in the rear, but you just take it easy for a lap or so, and you just kind of beat it in nice and slow, not too hard. Don't overbrake yourself, and then within a half a lap, they warm up quite quick, to be honest, in the semi slicks, but they fall off very quickly as well. After 3 laps, they'll just start falling over if you use them too hard.
Okay, so you're gonna have to explain falling over. So is that, when you talk about them falling off, is that just losing their grip?
Yeah, just overheating, just losing their grip. Like they'll just start to understeer more and stuff like that. The car.
So how do you manage the tyres in a race?
Just you want to be able to push as hard as you can without over pushing it, so where you feel the temperature's coming into them too much, like I say, then they start falling over themselves. You want to keep them in a nice window. So it's like qualifying laps, but at maybe 98%.
So what you've learned from last year, how much will you take all of it into this year and push a little harder?
Yeah, 100%. I learned a lot last year. It was definitely threw myself in the deep end in terms of competition, like racing likes of Simon Evans, Rowan Shepherd. They're all very fast. Even Ronan's a good driver, and Matt McCutcheon.
Ronan Murphy.
Yeah.
Even Ronan's a good driver. I'll remind him what you said.
Yeah, I learned, and he was my teammate. Same with Rowan Shepherd. And I learned a lot from them last year. So. It was very, very helpful, and it's a lot of information I'll take over to this year and put into my championship.
You see, this is what people don't realise about motor racing. They think it's the team does everything, but at this level, the driver has such a huge input.
Massive.
So Michael, as team manager, right?
Well, yeah, sort of. I mean, I wouldn't say team manager, but I mean, me and Dion do the work together in terms of like organising sponsors, communicating with them. I do a lot of the communication with the team, with Neil and Shane from Race Lab.
Of course you're under the Race Lab banner this year.
Yes.
Sorry for interrupting. So the sponsor lineup, how does it work? Is it what? What's the name of your team?
So our team is Race Lab Driver Academy.
Right.
It's all supported by Shane's other business, obviously, Golden Homes and stuff like that. And then I got my other sponsors, Ultra Interior, which was with me last year, which is actually my employer.
That's right, because you're a truckie, right?
Yep, I'm a truckie, and I truck drive for them for all our building materials and stuff. So
I'm going to come back to Michael, because we talked about this before, and I said, well, when you set up for a brand new season, one would hope that you can do testing, but you've got to pay to get on the tracks. So in the case of you lads, what's the story?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we sort of have a limited budget, and we sort of scrape around for every cent we can get. We haven't got mum and dad contributing. It's really just on me and Dion. So we sort of have to be careful how much testing we do. And we did a couple of days leading into the season, but we weren't out all the time. I know some of the other boys in the field this year and last year, we've done multiple days, and down to Highlands, as well. So it's a little more difficult for us. We basically sort of have to turn up on the weekend. Dion has to go out on a Friday, and sometimes he hasn't been in the car for months and months. Pukekohe Supercars round, hadn't been in the car for 5 months. Other people have been testing, went out. It was very tough, qualified near the back. It was a little bit difficult, but in the end he won a race that weekend as well, so he turned it around. But
what's it like to win at Puke, man?
Awesome, and especially at that event, the final Supercars event, I couldn't believe it. Every time coming over that hill, I was sort of pinching myself, just seeing the amount of people on the hill and all that. It was awesome, and Puke's always been a bit of a bogey track for me. I always really enjoyed it, but I haven't really got the results there. But to do it in that last weekend at Supercars to get a win there, it was definitely magical. And my first race meet with Race Lab 2 as my team. So
Shane would like
awesome.
that.
Yeah,
he would love that.
He was
there. He was there. He gave me the biggest hug when I got out of the car.
Yeah, I mean, what sort of speed are the 86 is doing over the top there?
Over the top, coming down turn 1, we're pushing on just on 200.
That's all right, huh?
Yeah.
When you first approached and learnt turn 1, I'm told, Murph tells me the story that everybody goes, oh my gosh, turn 1 is so dangerous, got to be really careful. He says, actually, it's quite an easy turn. It
isn't that difficult, especially in 86. It's just a lift. You pluck 6 just at the start line really, and you just lift into it. But it's just sketchy because it's so bumpy. And when you come down the front straight, it just looks like a narrow passageway with concrete walls going down to it. So you kind of like get a bit tight going into it. But overall, it's not a hard corner, but it's a very fun corner.
So it's genuinely a sphincter tightener.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we were talking about money and being able to do things. There must be a romance in what you're doing, because you're an amateur team, right?
Yeah.
With sponsors wanting to produce a professional performance, but the essence of it is it's still your weekend races. No,
I don't think in our mindset. I think we've passed that. In terms of when we were racing the E30s, I think definitely at that point, because we never believed that it was possible for Dion to get to that next level, because it's just so tough getting sponsor money and getting people to actually invest in you. And obviously, as COVID's made it harder over the last number of years, but sort of once we've now got into it and we've got sponsors, we've done a season, we have, sort of learnt the lay of the land and found it a little bit easier, because now we understand how the game works a little bit more. But
how does the game work? Does it work simply on performance? You perform, you return back to sponsors or approach new sponsors, and they go, oh, actually, and you convince them of that?
Yeah, well, pretty much in my racing career, it has been like results is going to get me my sponsors, because I'm not known. I don't come from a racing background or anything like that.
Is there a bit of that going around? Let's be blunt.
Yeah, a little bit, 100%. And there's a lot of people up and down pit lane everywhere that have connections or been around motorsport their whole life. My father got me involved in motorsport just because he was a fan of it himself and enjoyed watching it as well on TV, and that's how I got into it. So, I have to get those results to prove to my sponsors to be like, hey, I deserve to be here.
So let's talk about the upcoming season, because because I'll be with you down there. Hopefully I'll be interviewing you in pit lane, because I'm doing all the post-race IV. So 1, 2 or 3, buddy. Not asking for too much. Just 1, 2 or 3. How often have you raced Highlands? Have you raced Highlands?
Only once last season there.
What did you make of that track?
Awesome, honestly. I didn't think too much of it when it first got built and hadn't driven there, just because it looks really tough to pass, which it is. But on an overall just driving experience, it's so much fun to drive that track.
That area where you go through what I call the forest.
Yeah.
I said to someone, it reminds me, I think of Hockenheim, the F1 track, which used to run through the forest. Did that?
Yeah, it does feel like that. You kind of, by the pit side and everywhere, it's open up, and then you just disappear in the trees, both twice and round the big sweep and all the way at Forest Hairpin down the end there. You just disappear in the trees and then you pop back out.
Of the tracks that you were going to race this season, what's your fave?
Highlands would be one of my favourite for sure. Taupo I also really enjoy too.
Taupo, I know, is traditionally tough on tyres for, let's just say, faster classes. But is it the same in the Toyota 86s?
Yeah, very much the same. It absolutely eats the tyres, that track.
So are you able to use other used tyres, even though you get a set for that weekend?
Yeah, so generally you come to practice and you always use the previous race weekend's tyres for practice. But then, you just, from qualifying, it's a brand new set. And that track, you do have to think about tyre management. We only have three races, but if you go hard and fast through the rest of the weekend, and then you get to race 3, you'll feel you don't have much rubber left.
Michael, are you so you're not on the comms with him, are you? You've made it quite clear you're the PR guy.
Yeah,
you're the money man.
I'm the money man, and I just there to support Dion really, and obviously my parents are there to support him too. But I obviously I spoke to you about this, and I just do anything that he needs really.
What's it like what's it like hanging out with your brother 5 weekends in a row?
Well, this is going to be 5 for us, but I mean, are you
going to do the whole season?
Yeah,
we'll do the whole 6 rounds, but obviously it's not 5 in a row.
It's my bad, not your bad.
Yeah.
But look, when I'm in New Zealand, because I was overseas for a little while actually when he first started racing cars again. When I'm in New Zealand, I'm at every single meeting. I just can't help myself, to be honest. I've got the bug. I was a football boy when I was younger, playing soccer. But as I've gotten older and Dion's been racing, I've grown to love motorsport so much that even myself, I'd love to get behind the car and. Even I think Mark Mallard's actually going to give me a chance to drive one of his cars.
The old cream insurance car?
Yeah, I think maybe his Ssangyong on one of those. He said that I could potentially have a go this year.
Oh, you go and do it. Yeah. I'd love to get out there, but according to Murph, I can't drive. So I'm stuffed really, aren't I?
Well, I don't know if I can drive yet. I'm just going to give Callum Hedge a call and tell him to come down to the track and teach me.
Well, he's racing in a very good team, M2 competition, along with Liam Skeets and Charlie Wurz. The Alexander Wurz, Alex Wurz, the former F1 driver who we spoke to yesterday on the show. All right, lads, I appreciate you spending the time to come in. Let's just get it right. Race Lab Driver Academy, Dion Pitt, car number
5.
Car number 5, nothing live with the number 5er. I will see you in pit lane.
Thank you.
Best of luck, travel safe, and here's hoping the Toyota 86 series, part of the Supersprint Motorsport New Zealand Championship, is a good one in the pits for the pits.